Hey guys, it's RG here. Sorry for the technical glitches. Sounds like Gabby got it all figured out. So yay, Gabby. I think maybe she shed a few tears.
I was crying.
But I think she got it done. Am I live? Just kidding. Thanks again for being patient as we kind of figured out, or Gabby figured out, all of the glitches as to why we couldn't go live. So anyway, we're here today, and hopefully you've all have already started your coloring, your cutting, and we're ready to just jump right in to assembling our beautiful projects. Now, as I told you guys last month, I was going to try my best to get ahead of the coloring and cutting myself, which in fact I've started, but I've not finished. So I'll go ahead and take those now so that I can keep on cutting away. Beautiful, beautiful downloads this month. Now, I want to know, guys, has the JPEG SVG situation, tripped you guys out at all? Like, is it too many files for you? I know it might be a little wonk for some of you. I know not everybody's into the gazillion files. So I am just gonna cut this guy out real quick. I say real quick, but it's really not real quick. And then I'll have Gabby go ahead and switch over to our bottom view just so you can see. You definitely don't want to see the top of my head. Guys, for those of you who are registered for our mixed media club, it's going to be a little nuts this time, so I hope you guys are ready for it. I decided I would experiment a little bit with paint pouring, and I'm going to do it my way, because we're not creating a canvas, we're creating cards this time. And that's going to be a little bit of a challenge possibly, but should be fun. We're going to have a little paint pouring fun for our mixed media class.
So Gail says that she doesn't use the JPEG or the SVG very often, but if she ever needs them, it's good to have them.
Yeah, at least you have them so that, you can pull them if you need to pull them. So I am just kind of going to town here with my cutting out, hopefully giving you guys enough time to either finish coloring or cutting. I know if Sherry's on here, she's already done. So sorry, Sherry, you get to watch us cut and color. But I absolutely love this particular, well, that's not true. I love them all. That's a problem. We are going to start looking into other options for our, I want to call it a switchboard, because that's what typically ends up malfunctioning for us. And so it's the program that actually flips the cameras from front to top. Front view to top view. And that's what ends up crashing sometimes. So it's not even, or it hasn't been a YouTube issue or a Facebook issue. It's been the actual program that just sometimes decides to crash. And the problem is, there's no way of knowing. Well, the good news is that once we get it going, it doesn't ever have a problem. It's getting it to go that it's the wonky wonk. But I think you know why. I think it's because we transitioned quite a bit between Facebook and YouTube. that it I think we confusify it. I'm determined to make confusifying a word.
So Pat James,
Hi, Pat.
she has a request. She wants to know if it's possible we can do the mini without the cut line.
You know, Miss Pat, I think I did get a whim of your request on Facebook. And I can certainly do that. That just means, do we want, I don't know how many of you use it with the cut lines. Does that mean we need now 6 files to get when you download? Do you know what I mean? Do we want 6 files now? Because how many of you guys use the cut line versions? So here's the thing. Originally, I thought that it would be nice to have the mini without the cut lines a little bit more spread out in the event that somebody wanted to use it with a die or a punch. And I thought, that would be kind of cool. That way they can use it that way. But I also realized that if you don't use it that way, then it's a waste of a lot of paper. So it's just always a little hard to tell what's going to be the best case scenario for everybody. But I'm not opposed to it, Miss Pat. I just kind of need to know.
She did mention that if it's too much, it's okay. She was just kind of wondering if it was possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible because we obviously have the files. It just means creating an additional file and doing it without the cut lines. It just means another file for you to receive when you get your set.
And then Kelly Holly is here with us.
Hi, Miss Kelly.
And she said she did her cards already today, but she always loves to watch.
That's so fun. Did you have fun, Kelly?
I hope she did.
I hope you had a blast.
Yes, everybody kind of has a little bit, like Nikki, she likes the outline version because of course it's easier in the machine.
Yeah.
Andrea, she's saying no lines because then that way she can use it with punches.
Yeah.
Herself. So everybody kind of has a little preference. She's like, probably because she doesn't have a machine. Maybe if she would have the machine, then she would like.
So true, Sacramento. You're like, if I had the machine, then yeah, I need the cut lines. All right, guys, I just have one more that I'm going to cut out here, and then I'm going to go straight into assembling our cards, which should be pretty self-explanatory. I did create a few pieces. You know what I don't care to do? And I kind of want to get your vibes on this, although I have a feeling I've asked this before. And that is for written instructions. I don't, because I personally myself have never read anybody's instructions. I feel like it's just such a waste of time to write them all down.
Yeah, they don't get like really word to word instructions word
right,
to word,
and
but they do get like, the size of each, well, especially because of our virtual people.
Right, so for our virtual people, so that they can recreate it, they get the materials and specs for them to be able to recreate when they kit themselves. So that's kind of cool. But for...
They don't get step-by-step instructions.
But regarding step-by-step instructions, there's a reason why we create the videos, is so that you guys can just kind of follow along versus having to read, because sometimes things get lost in translation. So I can say, especially when it comes to craft, for some reason, I always feel like you learn by watching and, of course, by practicing. And sometimes if you say something crazy like score the blah 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 to be able to create a grid for your layers, you're like, what the heck does that mean? So I'm trying to avoid that, and I'm always like, you know what? It's better if I just show them in a video. And the reason why I say that is because what's going to happen here for us in the next few months is, once a club gets released to the public, then we kind of make the video footage available from the actual, like today, from the actual recording. But one of the things that we're looking into is that some of the things that I say during those videos make no sense. Mainly because it was said 4 months earlier. And so some of those things just definitely don't make any sense at all. So what we're trying to do is we're going to go back and we're going to re-record every single one of those classes just to have them available to the people who decide to purchase it a little bit later down the road. So basically the live recorded will be removed because it's going to take place of a recorded version specifically for that class. So, definitely a lot of work on our end, but I do believe that it might be more professional and efficient for our new consumer who maybe didn't join us for the live or obviously didn't join us for the live and is finding out about that particular download and or virtual class firsthand. And yeah, we want it to be more evergreen.
So, a lot of them, they're saying, like Alex, she's saying she never reads instructions, even if she has them. She'd rather just watch and figure it out.
Yeah.
Marcela. She says yes, she likes the videos. So videos are fine. Everybody's kind of saying videos are.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the way of the future when it comes to just kind of education or any kits in the mail. Like, people should be doing their videos because nobody really follows instructions like that. You want to be creative. It's not your reading time, it's your creative time. So, but I know we have a lot of readers out there as well, so I don't,
Well, so far everybody has been saying love the videos because nobody wants to read.
Nobody wants to read, yeah. Well, I think that there's different there's a different feel for everything. So,
what
alright,
they
guys.
do care to get is they do like that they are getting the measurements so they can recreate it.
Right.
But at least it's not step by step, an essay on how to create a card.
Alright guys, so I'm opening up my kit and I've got my 2 downloads, which of course you've already received in your kit, and hopefully you've already added your coloring. Now, as you guys seen, I did not color to completely saturated, but it's totally up to you. Let me zoom in. Maybe one day we'll have it in the budget to get a camera that has a remote control so that I'm not wiggling the camera. But notice how there's a few little white spots. And that's kind of what I wanted with this the look and feel of this project. I didn't want to completely color it to the T. And so there's just a lot of different little white areas, and some I didn't even color all the way. I just kind of wanted some color highlights, and it just makes it fun. I think it just, especially with this particular look, see how we've got a lot of little white areas here. And it's just, something that you can have fun with, that you can play with, create with. So we've already kind of done that step where we've colored, we've cut out, and then we've got our 4 gorgeous kits. And talk about a beautiful color palette that you didn't know were gonna love until you played with. And so I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, come October, guys, our clubs are gonna change significantly, and we're gonna give you all the details next month. But just so y'all know, and I don't know this one. Oh, yeah. No? Yes. I don't. Why did you give me this guy?
I gave you that because you said you scored.
I do need the
on one of
scoring
them.
tool, but this is a weird one.
You
I
want me
think
to
this
get
is
you another
my-
one?
5. Okay, hold up. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I was right. It just looked weird.
You're weird.
I know, I was like, what in the world?
David's here to help out.
David is here in the studio. All right, so this one, guys, notice how I've got 1 inch. And so one of the things that I'm going to do here is I'm going to score at 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So that gives me the grid to be able to place my 3 pieces of cardstock. Okay? So I'm going to grab some adhesive, and I basically get to place it right on that grid on the score line, so that way they're all evenly measured and they don't look like I didn't just wing it. So you don't actually see the score lines, but they're there to help you place your cardstock.
Joe Walker says, hi, David.
Hi, Jill.
Hello, Joe.
Jill Walker.
Jill Walker.
Whoa.
And Sherry says, scoring the grid is so smart.
Yeah, it just gives you a nice even, you know, it looks good and you're always going to get a good looking grid. All right, so now when in doubt,
Pop it out.
we're going to pop out our top layer here. And place it right on top of our card base. So simple, so beautiful. I love the layers, and I love the shadowing that you're gonna get because you've now raised it, and it just makes a more professional looking card. Now, I'm gonna show you something kind of crazy because this is how, when I'm creating my cards, I basically do this. I create all my backgrounds first. So I'm gonna go jump into my second background. I'm gonna show you my rhyme or reason to my madness, okay? So I'm gonna go right into my second background. I'm gonna do 2 at a time because I'm gonna do a little bit of splattering and then there's a little bit of drying time. So I'm gonna grab my second card and then especially when I'm dealing with a set as gorgeous as this and I've got all the beautiful blooms and all the beautiful leaves, I love to create all my backgrounds first and then I just come and I adorn them with the various different blooms. So I'm gonna just quickly score this card here.
I guess when you said, when in doubt, and then I say pop it out, Andrea tells, come on, David, pop it out, because you didn't say it.
Oh yeah, he's
I'm focusing over
He's-
here.
He's
he
focused.
can't do 2 things at the same time, Suckerman.
He's
We
not a multitasker.
We still haven't gotten him there yet. He's still a baby, a little baby,
Little baby.
a little 18-year-old baby,
19.
19-year-old baby. Holy Hannah!
He just turned 19.
Oh, that's right. We just celebrated his birthday, and he's officially 19. Wowzers! I've never had a 19-year-old baby. Actually, that's not
Yes,
true
you have.
because I not only do I have a 19-year-old baby, I also have a 22-year-old baby.
You feel old
Soon
yet?
to be.
And I say babies because they still act like them.
Wow.
And I still wait, what? And I still so needy. See, you guys are distracting me, and now my paper's gonna tear. Ah,
Oh no.
I forgot how vicious this tape is. This tape is
It's vicious.
vicious. It's not very. Look at that. Would you just look at that? Oh
What
my
are you
goodness.
doing?
I just tore my paper. Let's use the other side so it doesn't look so wonky. Apparently I need a score line on this one too. It's because it was a little wonky.
Okay, now that you guys gave it,
Where do you think you're going?
I have other things to take care of, and then I'll come back and check up on you and
Alrighty.
everyone else.
All right, so now we've got this super cool cut piece of cardstock, little kind of like a frame. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop that guy out. And I'm gonna place it towards the top. Now, for those of you who actually received our kit, I couldn't make it any smaller or flush, but all you have to do is you need to just cut the ends off. And then grab some more of your tape, however vicious it might be. And bring it right on top of that. So cute. When in doubt, pop it out. We're gonna pop this guy also right out. So I know it's a little wonky, but this is how I create projects. I feel like I create them for mass production, which is one of the reasons why. Like I don't ever really just create one card. I suppose I might. But for the most part, I'm creating a whole set of cards. And this is the way that I do it. I create all my backgrounds first, and then I jump in and adorn them. And that just guarantees me a few things. It guarantees me flow. It guarantees me diversity. It also kind of lets me step back and see, ooh, if I have that flower, I might place it here. That might be too big. I might just go with this. That might be too orange. And so then I just kind of come back and play. And that way I play with colors a little bit and just kind of see what works the best. All right, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and do all four like this. So you get an idea of my style and my process. So I'm now gonna grab card number 3, and that's the one that has the smaller little scallop. Now I know it looks a little wonky, and that's because of course we cut it out of our Scan and Cut, and so it gets a little different, you know, when I play with the sizing. You know what, I think I remember using this little guy now. It's been a while. I also heard We Are Memory Keepers has a pretty cool scoreboard. Alex pointed out. I love the color of it. And did I totally just score that wrong? I totally just did. And I'm excited to play with that. I have ordered mine. Just so I have a score. I do use the scoreboard quite a bit, especially around the holidays. I feel like I tend to score more projects, more little gift baskets, things like that. All right, so we've got our card base here. Now this one's a little bit smaller, but that's because I add my little scallop. So what I'm gonna do is I'm adding a little strip of adhesive. And then I'm bringing in, just kind of placing that where I want it. That way I can just pick up my scallops there. Now I get to pop this guy right out. Super simple, easy peasy, cheesy breezy. Now also you'll notice that on this particular one, I did end up using the largest bloom. And I just freehand that cut. So I basically just went in and I said, you know what? I'm gonna create a corner.
What? You're just gonna...
Yeah, because I'm gonna place that corner right in there. See, so it looks like it's off the page. And of course I've already got my scallops, so it's not a big deal. So just for funsies sake, I'm gonna go ahead and attach that to that corner. What was that? So fun, right, guys? And it's super simple, and I get to bring it back to that center. More centered. Here we go. So background number 3. And now we get to move on to background number 4. Now this one's got a couple of different funsies on here. Let me just score this, hopefully correctly this time. So I've got a couple of different layers here, guys. And what I'm going to do is obviously I'm just going to create a half C. So half and half creates a cool little contrast showcase. Check. And then when in doubt, we're going to pop this label right out. And we're going to center it. Right onto there. Super. It's Cricut. Hold on. I'm gonna have to show here, guys, because I can't see unless I'm right over. Or should I just say I just can't see? And then I'm going to pop this guy right out as well onto my card base. Ta-da! We've got our 4 gorgeous card bases created and ready to adorn. Now, before I do that, I do end up splattering them all at the same time. This allows me to come on in here and just kind of splatter them all.
Kelly Holly says wear your glasses.
I know. Well, technically I have them on. I have contacts on, but they're not doing the job anymore, guys. So I think I need to change my prescription. I'm either wearing, I have contacts on, but yeah. All right, guys, so now I just kind of let them dry for a little bit, and then once they're done drying, then we're gonna come back and we're gonna start adding some of our blooms. They should all be cut. You also have all of these cutie patooties and all your twine for your various different projects. Oh yeah, I'm missing one.
Donna Blatt says you turned 40 with an exclamation mark.
I did turn 40. What does that mean?
You're old?
Thanks, David. So I am just unraveling all of my twine and I'm gonna grab my gun. Make sure it's dry. So this is it, guys. This is how I actually kit them, and I actually say, all right, babe, these are the cards for the month. And she's like, what do they look like? And I said, I'm not exactly sure yet, but you can start kitting because this is my background and this is what it's gonna look like. And this is the deal, Holyfield. And then I just jump in because for the most part, the last part of the process here is going to be your printables. So you're going to get your printable and you're going to adorn them and you're going to decorate them. And so this is what Gabby gets every single month before our card club. And she's like, I hate it when you do this to me. Although I'll tell you, she's never needed anything else because it's ready to go. Like, it's this and then the downloads and then it's ready to go, except for when we come to the embellishments, you know. So I'm like, yeah, that's coming next because I'm still working on it. So then she's like, this is why I would rather see the whole card. But this is how I design. So let's go ahead and go to town and start creating all of our projects. So I'm going to move these guys out of the way and I'm going to start with this guy. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some adhesive here to add our twine loopy loops. Just a couple. I'm going to kind of place it towards the bottom here. Now, something that's really good here is if you actually add your sentiment first, because then it allows you to position your blooms as needed. So I'm going to grab some of my foam squares, and these two are already sliced in half. And then I'm going to place, hey sweetie, oh sweetie, right on the top here. And then I can start coming back in and start layering my blooms. So I'm going to bring in my flower, and I do recommend, guys, that you come in and you just create a little slit right along the black image line. Just a little deep, not all the way deep. Just a little nugget. That way you can create a little bit more of a curl. And you'll have different layer variations so that you've got that. See how it's a little bit more curly? And you've got all those fun little layers. So we're going to start layering our blooms.
Did David tell you about Pat?
No.
Oh, so Pat says she hates to leave us all, but she gets tired really easily, so she's going to go to bed. So it's off to bed for her.
Oh, thanks for joining us, Miss Pat. Get some rest.
She said, you two are the best. Love and hugs. I'll catch the replay later.
And I'm going to start tucking in my various different layers. And so it just makes it super fun. I do sometimes snip off the little stems because sometimes they get in the way of me tucking in my blooms. Like in this case, see how still getting in the way? So I'm going to snip off the bottom again. But I can't do this beforehand because I really won't know until I start tucking. So there we've got that guy. And lastly, we've got our little bloom here. Same thing, I'm just gonna come in and I'm gonna create a little snip. I'm gonna add my foam square to my bloom, and I'm just gonna tuck right underneath. Look how beautiful that is. So pretty. Now we also have some sequins that you're going to be able to use. It's kind of like an iridescent sequins, but it's stunning. Oh, sweetie. All right, we're gonna do our sequins and our glazing on our own at the end. That way you can position it. But this is what you should have. And I just placed one here and one under, kind of tucked it a little bit under there, and one right at the top. But totally up to you. I did choose 3 sequences for every card. You might have a few extras just because. So feel free to plug away and add them anywhere you'd like. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our Good Vibes card. Again, we're gonna start with our sentiment because then it allows us to position our blooms. So we've got Good Vibes right on top. Now we're going to grab another one of our strings. Now you should have one string, one twine that's significantly longer from all 3 cards. If in fact you followed the way that I did the cards, then you don't necessarily know where that goes anymore because you should have, you know, pieces all over the place. So the very long one where you're going to use at the very end. So it's the one that has a double bow versus the twirlies. So just for you to know. All right, we're going to start with our largest bloom, and same rule applies, guys. We're going to snip, 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 just a quick little snip in between our petals so that we can create that cool curl in our petals. So I'm going to add a couple of foam squares here. And I'm going to start by positioning my bloom.
Andrea Mill says that she guesses that she's been creating wrong all these years because she always does a sentiment at the end.
Well, it just depends, Zuckerman, because, well, yeah, you have been. Bye. I'm just kidding. Typically, I do the sentiment first because then I can position where I'm going to place things. Now, when, you know, in our older days, when we were little, we were playing with stamps. And so it's a little different because I can see where I have space for a stamp. But even then, you would potentially want to stamp it beforehand because that way you don't get ink on any of your additional blooms. So this just really helps out a little bit because then you've got a little bit more control over where you position your stuff. So like if you would have placed it here, then you would have no room left over for your sentiment. And of course, the biggest purpose for your greeting card is to send that sentiment. So now I can either tuck it right behind my sentiment, move it all the way to the side, depend on what you got going on. So it allows you to play around that space and even go off the grid a little bit to create the look you want once you've figured out what that look is. Now I'm going to snip off the bottom of that leaf, and same thing, I'm going to come back, I'm going to tuck in. Look how cute that is, guys. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I just think that once you create all your background, it makes it so easy to adorn them, right? So when you're thinking of designing, when you're going to design a project, then create your background first. Don't worry too much about your images. That's just a little tip, right? Don't worry too much about what the image is. Create your background first, and then let that inspiration guide you. Let the background kind of pave the road for you to then come back and adorn. Think of it like a Christmas tree. You build your Christmas tree, and then it's time to put all the ornaments on the tree. And so you can't start but with the ornaments and not even know what, maybe your tree's too big, maybe your tree's too small, maybe your tree's too skinny. It depends on the size of your tree or the type of tree you have that helps your ornaments come to life. So just a little side tip. No extra charge, guys. No extra charge.
Alex Gomez says she learned to craft from you, so you must have taught me wrong when we were little.
I didn't teach you wrong, Alex. Plus, we're still kind of little. Don't pay attention to the gray. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and switch back to the top so that we can work on numero tres. All right, guys. And again, sometimes it just depends on your project. So for example, this one, I know that I have plenty of space for my sentiment. I don't have to worry about, because I'm going to use smaller images. So, but just for the sake of the class, we're going to go ahead and start with our sentiment. This allows us to work around it and create the space we want. Because I already know I wanted the top of the L to kind of fit right along the edge of that peak. So if that's what I want, then that's what I should start with. Now I'm going to bring in my twine. And what I love about the twine is that it tends to be a little bit more stiff, so you don't have to worry about, it keeps its shape, which is ultimately what you want in a card. And sometimes I just hold it down with some foam squares on the side because, I'm going to end up covering them anyway. So I'm going to bring in my bloom, and I'm going to kind of follow the curve of the top petal. This one's a little different just because it's got a layered petal underneath, but it'll still look amazing. You just want to make sure you don't go in too deep or else you're going to cut off that petal. Cute. And then I'm going to grab that chunky leaf. I love it. And then there's a smaller little leaf or flower that we're going to add to the side. Check it out, guys. Are you guys loving your projects? We are down to our last one. This is where that longer piece of twine comes in. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous cards this month. I love them. I love them every month, but so exciting. So we're gonna start with our double bow here. Actually, it's a triple bow, or I have enough to make a triple, so I'm gonna make a triple. Very cute. And now we've already kind of started our foundation. We're gonna grab our sentiment. Perfect. And this time I'm not gonna add the twine next because it's a bow, so I'm gonna add it as fluff. So I'm gonna come into my digital image or my printed image, and I'm just gonna create, you know what guys, maybe if for those of you who are a little scared that you're gonna go into deep, just cut one side as opposed to both. So instead of going we're only going to do the one, let's say to your right or to your left. Just do one. That way you don't go in. I'm just afraid you might go into deep and then it'll turn into a he loves me not flower with missing petals. So we're going to pop this guy right out. Kind of place them up here. And we've got two blooms, two petals left. I am gonna snip off that bottom portion just so I can tuck it in a little bit further. Bring in that leaf. Beautiful. And then there's an additional little flower that we're going to add. I'm just going to bring it a little bit higher. Look how cute that is. Now, with some white glue, I'm going to place some white glue back here and just kind of tuck in that bow right on the top. Stunning! Voila, guys. We kicked some butt today and created these gorgeous, stunningly beautiful cards.
Larissa's cards are beautiful.
They absolutely are, guys. And what I love about it the most is that they're so universal. If you decided that you're going to put poinsettias on here, follow the same layouts, recreate the project in a different color palette, and turn them into your Christmas card. Add any of our new digital images that we've launched for our holiday launch, and you'll recreate them again with that same idea in mind. So it is a challenge that you go in, you create your background, and then you just kind of build up, and adorn. Like you can totally see, I can add the bats to this gorgeous, gorgeous background. Or maybe I want to add the stocking stuffer to this gorgeous background, just kind of the same layout. So super fun. Love the layouts that we've learned here. And I think ultimately that's sometimes what we're teaching is just different card layouts that are going to come to life in a variety of different ways. And today I kind of shared with you my secret. This is how I create projects. This is how I create cards. I create all my backgrounds first, and then I just basically adorn the background. I said, okay, this is my background. Now it's time to put that pretty in the front. And amazing happens, and they always come out absolutely spectacular. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to go ahead, Top Shot real quick. Top Shot. Oh, sorry. Top Shelf, not Top Shot.
Oh.
It's called... No, I did. There's top Shelf. Like when you say Top Shelf, like give me 5 on... What? Haven't you seen Wreck-It Ralph? Top Shelf. Whatever.
Oh, I get it now. Well, they're all saying that they love the cards and they love the color scheme. They're all
so
wrong when
pretty.
we're saying they're not normally orange people, but they love the color.
But
and
today
the
we're
colors.
orange people, right? Let's go ahead and switch back to the bottom, David.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
He's a little... Okay. Yeah. So again, just to show you the sequence version, in case you need a little guide.
Also, Sherry is asking, can you talk about the rule of 3 for the sequence?
Rule of 3. You know, Sherry, I used to have a rule of 3 for the sequence. I did in this particular card, but nowadays people go psycho killer. They just go sequence crazy. I do like it to be in different sizes. I don't like my sequence to all be the same size, but let's go ahead and look at this one to study it a little bit more. Now, you don't want your sequence to compete with the flow of your project, okay? So here we've got a beautiful card, and it's got beautiful flow, amazing rhythm. It just kind of circles back and circles back and circles back. There's no breakage in rhythm. Most of the times when I see a card that isn't like strikingly beautiful, is typically because there's a breakage in the rhythm of the project. In other words, it doesn't have flow. Doesn't have even flow. And again, that's typically when you look at any of the projects that I create, there's always going to be a focal point. When you look at this card, what is the first thing you see? Boing, you go straight to that flower. But then that flower walks you over to the next flower, that walks you over to the sentiment, and then it walks you all the way right back. So there's flow, right? In this particular project, same thing, focal point. Or some even decide, you know what, the first thing I see is a hello. Well, if the first thing you see is a hello, it still brings you back to your flowers and it creates flow, synergy. So again, all of my cards will typically have some sort of rhythm. Just because I have something nearby, is obviously we're going to create something with, we're going to be creating these next Saturday. And again, there's no breakage in flow, right? You've got direction. You've got all of my splatter going in the same direction. There's flow in my project. It's guiding you this way. And same thing here. It's guiding you. There's flow. You've got your hope. Comes right back up. There's, you know, what's helping with flow here is also this twine. See how this twine comes around? So it's almost kind of guiding your eye. And that's my biggest pet peeve when it comes to card layouts or anything really that's got to do with creativity and style, is that your projects need to have flow. They can't compete with each other. None of my cards ever compete with each other. They're all standalone on their own, as well as they're always going to have rhythm. And if there's an element competing with itself in the project, it's going to be bad. It's not going to win, and you're going to lose your design aesthetics. However, guys, keep in mind that it's important. If you're having a blast, don't feel like you have to have a perfectly, beautifully designed card. It is my job, it is my responsibility to always give you guys the best of the best, and always give you superb 100% flawless designs. So for you guys, it's not something, but if you're having fun, then have fun. It doesn't don't worry about the side aesthetics. That's my job.
Having fun. And Gail here, she says she normally doesn't use orange, but she loves these cards.
Yeah.
They absolutely look beautiful. And Sherry had a question. Can you talk about the rule of three?
That's what I was just talking about.
Okay, I didn't know if David
Someone's
mentioned
late to the party.
Sorry, I just walked in to check up on you guys, and I didn't know if David had covered some of these. I guess then Alex is asking, will you be launching sequins in October? She loves the sequins on the card.
I do love sequins on the card, and I do love this. Like, let's look at this one real quick, guys. Oh, am I already zoomed in? I don't even know. Oh, yeah. So let's look at this one. So back to Sherry's question on the rule of sequence. See how we've got flow. I keep saying flow, but I've got my small, my medium, my large sequence. So again, it's got a gradual shift. If you put two larges together, they're competing with each other. You don't want that. If I were to, I'm just going to show you just for funsies. Not let you guys have anywhere to be anyway. So I'm just going to take up all your time. Just kidding, you might have somewhere to be.
Christine Roy says there's no card police.
No card police. So if I were to put these two together, they're competing with each other. It's a no bueno.
So are they saying like, I want to be here? No, you.
Yeah.
No,
So, no, it's me. No, it's me. No, it's me. No, bye. It's not both of you. It has to be just one of you. However, if I bring a small one next to it, there's flow. They're not competing with each other. They're playing well together. They're nice. They're friendsies. They're friends. So it doesn't have to be three anymore. And that's kind of my point to you, Cheryl, to Sherry, is that the rule of three doesn't necessarily apply too much anymore like it did back when we were little. Because if I wanted to bring in four, then it looks perfectly fine as long as it's not competing with my foreground, as well as it's not competing with my showcase. It's just there to accent the showcase. Now, I would never really add just four if it were me personally. So I would probably want to come in and add a fifth and maybe just kind of tuck it back there. So I know it's there and it looks like it's just falling sequence from, my background if we're creating a beautiful wedding bouquet or something like that. Anyway. So hopefully I didn't go too psycho killer crazy into the design aesthetics of, what I'm looking for when I create a project showcase. Or again, I think it's my responsibility to make sure that when you guys say, I took this class, or I signed up for this class, or I signed up for this event, and you show what you created, that it's always 100% top of the line, the best design on the market. And so I'm constantly making sure that you're getting exactly that.
No, did I miss it, or did you answer Alex's question?
What did Alex say? Because
we were gonna have sequence in October.
I'm working on that, Alex. So I'm working on so many things, guys. There's no
There's no
sleeping here tonight. There's no sleeping here tonight. No sleeping here tonight. We're on a diet. Oh wait, that's not sleeping. It's eating.
It's eating.
Okay.
For us,
No eating either. But yes, I'm working on so many things. The event in October is going to be spectacular, guys. It's not, we're not going to do this at a 5-star resort. At first I was looking into that and I'm like, you know what? I don't want it to be super expensive for all my people to stay. I said, we're not even going to be able to enjoy the hotel amenities because we're going to be crafting all day long while we're here. So, but if you wanted to venture out into Scottsdale and, visit some of the fancy foo-foo places that we've got here, and you can certainly do that. Some of us will be working the entire event, and we'll be creating and we'll be crafting. So we want to make sure that the time is spent just kind of being with each other and celebrating our amazing launch and creating and making fun, pretty things.
It's a little bit more intimate, so.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun and it's going to be exciting, and I am working on that. I'm working on embellishments. I'm working on a few amazing partnerships that are in the work, as well as some amazing drop your panties giveaways. What? Maybe not. Keep those on. But we are working on some fun. I think I got a visual.
What?
No, I don't want to
No
visual.
visuals.
We definitely are working on amazing, amazing giveaways that I think you guys are going to be super, super excited about. So, anyway, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Sorry for the crazy technical delays. Truth be told, guys, we're probably not going to be able to move into a different program until October for a variety of different reasons. We don't want to just try something all of a sudden and we're not used to it. Gabby's at least used to this one, even though sometimes it gives us a hard time getting started, mainly because we go from YouTube to Facebook. So what we've tried to do is like, okay, well then let's shut the whole thing down and restart, thinking that's gonna solve it. It's like an iPhone. It has an amazing memory. You're like, you just bought this last time. I'm like, excuse me, how do you know? So it thinks that we want to go on Facebook, even though we don't want to go on Facebook, we want to go on YouTube. And so it keeps crashing and it keeps crashing until it's like, oh, you want to go on YouTube? Yes, yes. Now, typically we don't have a problem when we go on Facebook consecutively, but because we just had the event and then we taught the class on Monday, and yeah.
I think it's just being overworked.
Yeah, it's like, what is going on, guys?
We have a question will we be able to participate virtually that weekend? So I'm assuming the weekend of the October event.
So the answer to that is no, we cannot. I don't know how to make it virtual and still give you the same. Yeah, because it's about the giveaways, it's about spending time together, it's about the surprises, the element of surprise, and I'm all about that. That is my thing. So I don't know how to do that for you while not making you feel left out, because you might not be able to get all of the goodies, or you might not be able to participate in that, and ooh and wow and yay. It's like a roller coaster, right? It's like, ooh, you got these amazing things happening and all of a sudden it gets super exciting. And anyway, and on top of that, I don't have the crew to come in and be able to make us go live and capture it the right way, right? We definitely don't want to have to capture it with our cell phone going live that way, because that's not going to work out. So one day, I have faith that one day we're going to be able to have the team on board who's going to help us, and maybe we'll be able to offer it both virtually and live. But as of right now, we want to make sure that it's an amazing production for the people that are able to join us, without having to worry about making sure that it's also an amazing production for the people who are virtually, and sometimes not having the technology or the technical assistance to be able to pull that off. So I can do it from here, and even then we've got some complications sometimes, but we're pretty well set up to do it from here, right? There's cameras on the ceiling, there's lights everywhere, I can zoom in on my education, but when I'm on the road, that's a little bit more complicated.
And it sounds like Andrea and Jill are planning a road trip.
Zuckerman! Only if you bring the baby, or else you can't
Jill
come.
Walker says, RG, we need to have carne asada since it's...
Yeah, we should have carne asada. You know what we could do is when the event is over on Saturday, then y'all can say on Sunday, we go to church, we come back, we have carne asada at my house. What? Party at my house. But anyway, it should be fun. I can't wait to see you all and hug you all, and spend. And can I just say that October is typically, unless Mother Nature fails me, is absolutely gorgeous here. Absolutely.
It won't be hot.
Gorgeous. It might be hot.
Well, not like right now.
But it's not gonna be hot. It's just gonna be like, what? 75?
Maybe
75? Maybe 80s.
But see, that's still...
Maybe 90s.
Kind of
No, I'm
cool.
just kidding. It
That's
shouldn't be
cooler than-
90s. It shouldn't be 90s.
I didn't say 90s.
No, but I said maybe 90s. Maybe, but we'll see. But it's always going to be beautiful. It'll cool off in the evening. It's not going to stay hot. It'll be amazing. It'll be amazing. So guys, thank you so much for absolutely everything. I can't wait to see all your beautiful cards on social media displayed, that you've finished, that you've created, that you've made amazing happen. And I can't wait to share with you our next club coming up. For those of you who are in my mixed media club, stay tuned tomorrow, because we will go live with that first look at our amazing Mixed Media Club that goes out tomorrow. So yay! Woo! Yes.
Yes.
Yes, who needs?
Yes.
Gabby's looking at me like, who needs sleep?
No sleeping here.
No sleeping here tonight. No sleeping. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. I hope you had a blast. I had a blast being able to just bore you with all my design aesthetic talk. But I hope you learned a little something or two. And I hope you're as excited as we are to continue to be on this amazing path that God has put us on. Guys, thanks for joining us. Remember to continue to create and capture so that we can share hope to the people around us. Have an amazing rest of your night. Buenas noches.